Welcome back to Reviews and Rankings with Robby Sobel. Today I'll be taking a look at the 2019 film Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker is a 2019 film directed by J.J. Abrams and stars Daisy Ridley, Adam Driver, Oscar Isaac, John Boyega, and Carrie Fisher. The story begins as we follow Kylo Ren, Supreme Leader of the First Order, as well as being the grandson of Darth Vader and son of Princess Leia and Han Solo. 1 year following the events in The Last Jedi, Ren gets his hands on a Sith Wavefinder device and travels to another planet where he encounters the former Emperor Palpatine, who had believed to have been dead following the events of the Return of the Jedi. Palpatine persuades Ren to find and kill Rey, a former scavenger who has since gone on to train as a Jedi under both Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia. Meanwhile, a spy from within the First Order leaks Ren's plans to members of the Resistance in the form of Finn, Poe, and Chewbacca. After informing others of what Ren has in mind, Finn, Poe, and Chewbacca join together with Rey, BB-8, and C-3PO in an attempt to find a former friend of Luke Skywalker that could help them in their own plan to find an ancient artifact with clues to defeat the First Order. While Leia is initially skeptical, Rey is able to convince her and have her approve their mission before the group heads out. After landing on the desert planet of Pasaana, the gang links up with Luke's old friend Lando Calrissian, who leads them to the artifact's most recently known location. Unfortunately, they're soon met up by Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren after Ren locates the group using his Force bond with Rey. The rest of the film takes the group to various locations and planets as they interact with old and new characters in their journey to defeat Kylo Ren and stop Palpatine once and for all. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker is the 9th and final episode of the Star Wars Skywalker saga that began back in 1977, and it's the 3rd installment of the Disney-era sequel trilogy. With decades of stories and characters coming together in the form of film, television, comics, video games, and novels, attempting to finalize a legendary franchise is a tall order. Director J.J. Abrams returns to the series after directing Episode 7, A Force Awakens in 2015, which was met with mostly positive reviews. The Rise of Skywalker was one of 2019's most anticipated films, and for the most part, provides a solid conclusion to a 4-decade-long story arc. The most obvious positive can be seen within the opening minutes and throughout the film, as the visuals are a sight to be seen, with cinematographer Dan Mindel doing a fantastic job, having reprised his role after his work on A Force Awakens. The score by legendary John Williams is as good as ever, and if it's the last time he works on a Star Wars movie, he could be proud of his work in Episode 9. The cast also does a solid job, with Adam Driver as the standout playing Kylo Ren, and Daisy Ridley continuing her role as Rey with likability and compassion. Despite her death in 2016, Carrie Fisher returns as Leia through the use of unused footage from previous films, as well as CGI work and stand-ins. While it's noticeable at times, J.J. Abrams and the rest of the crew were able to salvage enough to make an impact. Various other cameos add to the nostalgia, which include major fan favorites like Luke Skywalker and Han Solo. J.J. Abrams does a professional job in the director's chair from a technical standpoint, though the biggest issue comes in the film's story, which is where the negatives begin. Due to the film having so many intertwining stories within the main plot, it's a tough chore to link them all together in smooth fashion. There are several plot holes that are left either completely or partially unanswered, with the most glaring being how Palpatine was able to return and concoct his plan of action. The other major issue is that the film's runtime of about 2.5 hours is just not enough to flesh out the story and give us time with several characters, most notably some newer faces that don't even have enough time to develop themselves. I can't help but think that The Rise of Skywalker would have been better suited as two separate films, giving it the time it needed to breathe in the process. The current Rotten Tomatoes score for the film shows a heavy tilt in favor of the fans, with a critic score of just 57% and an audience score of 86%. This is a complete 180 from the RT score of The Last Jedi, which the majority of critics loved, but most fans seem to dislike. Despite this, the film is an entertaining adventure and moves at a quick pace so that the viewer will never find themselves bored. There are several fan service moments throughout the movie, and depending on where you stand on that issue, it's either a plus or a minus. For a casual Star Wars fan like myself, I found it enjoyable, as The Rise of Skywalker comes recommended to both hardcore and mild fans of the saga with a respectable 3.5 out of 5-star rating. I hope you enjoyed my review for Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, but what are your thoughts? Leave them down in the comments below, and if you could, hit the like button and subscribe. If you're on Instagram, you can follow me at Robby_upgrade. So let's keep watching movies, and thanks for checking out the channel.